yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the story behind the story. It's Monday afternoon, the 4th day of February 2013. Oh my goodness, have I stirred up the hornet's nest once again? Oh yeah, it's just, man, the deeper the hoax, the deeper the lie, the more the truth is hated, the more the truth is lashed out about and the messenger of truth spit upon. I tell you, it's been crazy this last weekend, I should say, last 3 days. First of all, I got to tell you, Saturday I went to our little Christian fellowship sponsored this Stepping Up men's program. And I understand what it's about. It's Family Life is the group. This Dennis Rainey does a great job, in supporting traditional family values. I got to tell you, it's good stuff. But then again, so is Mormonism's family values stand. And the point I want to just make today on this is what does it do to stand up for family values if you keep hiding the biggest hoax of all time? The very thing that's designed to destroy our families and our family values. And you don't talk about that. You just ignore it because you see it's not politically popular. And it's not what you've been trained in your doctorate of divinity study in the seminary. You can't tell the truth about Israel, modern day Israel. They're God's chosen people. Incredible. Again, I keep using that word because it's absolutely shocking to me. Absolutely shocking. So here Dennis Rainey talks about how to be a courageous man of God, how to stand up and be counted, how to step up. And then when you pose questions about the Edomites, about the agenda of destruction of the family, it don't go there. See? And you assembled this great team of pastors and divinity doctors and people like Tony Dungy, the coach of the Indianapolis Colts for so many years, and Super Bowl winner in 2007. Good Christian man. Pastors like Mark Driscoll of Washington State. Really a who's who among the Christian community, and they will never talk about the most important issue facing American families today, and this is the satanic Edomite cabal masquerading as God's chosen people. It can't go there. It's white supremacy. It's hate speech. It's nasty. But folks, unless you do, nothing meaningful is going to happen. All of these feel-good things they're talking about, they mean nothing. All of these homilies, these quotes, these feel-good statements, they really do. They mean nothing if you don't focus on who the enemy is. Yeah, it's okay to get up, Dennis Rainey, and talk about your heroes, people like Chuck Colson. Chuck Colson is outlined in the video and in this manual book. Chuck Colson, those of you that have never heard that name, died in 2012, last year. Here's how I was honored. Quote, Chuck Colson is known for two primary reasons. One, his role in the Watergate scandal of 1972. He was involved in an illegal hoax, ladies and gentlemen, yes, that sent him to prison and forced the resignation of President Richard Milhous Nixon. And secondly, he's known for his founding of Prison Fellowship, an evangelical outreach to prisoners and their families. Never really discussing the real reason for Richard Milhous Nixon resigning. The Edomites that call themselves Jews today, why the big secrets that they were keeping, and they had to force Spiro Agnew and Richard Milhous Nixon out, because you see, their agent to the White House, the Edomite agent to the White House, a man named Billy Graham, was keeping him fully informed on what was happening. The whittling, the erosion of support by Richard Milhous Nixon and Spiro Agnew, the erosion of support for Israel following the Israeli shooting down by air-to-air missile of an Iraqi civilian, a civilian jetliner full of innocent Iraqi citizens. It was simply this, you see, according to the research in Tex Mars, the conspiracy of the six-pointed star. It was exactly this event that caused Agnew and Nixon to say, that's it, they crossed the line. We're going to expose the whole thing. We're going to expose really the reasons behind the assassination of John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Really precipitated the JFK assassination, was part of the discussion on the now infamous Nixon White House tape recordings. The reason for Watergate, you see, the so-called Plumbers Union, they were trying to get the definitive proof burgled out of the National Archives, which were sealed up for so many decades. The truth, folks, the truth about really why John Fitzgerald Kennedy had to go, how he had to die. The truth hinging on his opposition to Israel's nuclear agenda called Dimona Nuclear Facility. See, unless you talk about these things, Mr. Dennis Rainey, how can you have men stand up? You talk about courage. You talk about integrity. You talk about morality. And all the time, you don't focus on the biggest hoax in all of the Christian faith and religion. You talk about staying away from pornography. You talk about how to protect yourself against internet pornography and the unholy sin of masturbation. Yeah, fine, talk about why you shouldn't do it, because, yeah, it truly is being unfaithful to your wife, your spouse. That's all good information. But why do you fail to tell people who is behind the agenda of pornography? Why don't you point it out that it's the Jews, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Jewish people that are the purveyors of porn and filth? Why doesn't he point that out? Folks, if you don't tell the whole story, you're part of the problem. I'm sorry, maybe I'm too much of an extremist, but I see a big hole here. And I don't mind telling it like it is. You should see the hate mail I got over the weekend. The shut your mouth or you'll be sorry threats. I've had enough of it, folks. I've had enough because, you see, America is on the fast track to becoming the Soviet Union of the modern era. It's going to be worse than the killing fields of the Gulag archipelago. It's going to be worse, folks. You think 100 million Christians won't be killed in this purge that's coming? It'll be more than 100 million. Because I personally believe that over half of America's population, some 150 million strong, are Bible-believing Christian people that have just been led astray by their wolves, their pastors who are blind guides, pastors who just don't want to appear, or either their ignorance or their complicity, it really doesn't matter, are leading their flocks over the cliff. I can't say it any clearer than that. Yes, I am a fan of the movie Agenda, the grinding down of America. I understand that he really went out on a limb talking about the Fabian Society and the so-called Frankfurt School, but if you go down that path, sir, as a good Christian, why not tell the whole truth, the entire truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Today I posted 2 posts on my blog, adruat.com. The first one I want to talk about today in depth is Agenda, the grinding down of America. What about the Frankfurt School? What about it? I encourage you to go to the blog and click on the YouTube link. I didn't put it in there directly. I wanted just to have the link because I want you to go there and read the comments that were made in the YouTube post. Wow, it's an amazing acceptance speech at the San Antonio Christian Film Festival. Won top prize, $101,000 check in 2010. So this movie Agenda has been out for quite a while. The acceptance speech was an amazing, to me as a father, very moving. Because he explains how and why he put that movie together, Agenda, grinding America down. It was for his children, and his children praying the simple prayer of a child, asking that their father be recognized and the movie be successful. That's powerful stuff, folks. Because I don't care who you are, where you are, a prayer of a child is pure, without a doubt. And I think men, manly men, courageous men need to learn how to pray as a little child prays. Simple and direct and heartfelt. But I have a problem, frankly, with the video. Yes, he talks about the Frankfurt School. Yes, he talks about the Fabian Society. Yes, he exposes that, but that is just scratching the surface. Maybe it's necessary just to get Christians awake as to what the Frankfurt School is all about. But folks, you've got to dig deep and see who the Fabian Society are and the Frankfurt School. Folks, it's these people who call themselves Jews. That's who's behind it. You can give them a label, what Frankfurt School or the Fabian Society, but it's just, again, a name. It's a population of people that have made a contract with Satan. And again, the reason why this is so important is because here this film festival, they give these awards, give the money out, and we're gonna just talk about the Fabian Society, and we're gonna talk about the Frankfurt School. We're not gonna talk about the Jews behind them. We won't go there. We're gonna continue to give non-binding, total, complete allegiance to the nation of Israel. We're going to talk about a Judeo-Christian code. What? We're talking about an oxymoron. How can the Judeo-Talmudic rabbi culture be even in the same sentence as a Christian? The Jews are the mortal enemies of Christ and Christians. Talk about genocide, talk about hundreds of millions of dead Christians between Mao Zedong's collectivism and Lenin, Stalin, and Khrushchev, and the Young Turks, the Armenian genocide, on and on. Folks, do your homework. It's critical mass time, folks. So you better stand up and put on your armor of God, and I mean right now. You better stand up and step up and be courageous, and I mean right now. It's not enough just to pinpoint the Frankfurt School. What the H-E double toothpicks? What the shades of Hades does the school of Frankfurt School mean? You say it in the video, sir, but most people say, "Wow, what's the Frankfurt School? Never heard of that before." You see, you gotta explain it, folks. You gotta get down and dirty and tell the truth. Tell the truth. This is what I'm doing in this post. Here's what I've written. I want to share it verbatim with you today, and story behind the story. I wrote, quote, truly, speaking of this movie, truly it is not a, quote, conspiracy. It is, in fact, the open, declared, worldwide agenda of the so-called New World Order envisioned by the godless United Nations, folks. What do you think the United Nations was formed? And by who? Who do you think formed the United Nations in 1948? Do you think it's just coincidence that that's the same time? Same exact year that the nation of Israel, so-called, is formed by these Khazars, these Edomites, the synagogue of Satan. Do you think it's just coincidence? I wrote, it is in your face, and it's as real as it can possibly be. Above all, this one most important truth must be understood. It is an all-out war to the death against pure biblical Christianity. Do you get that, folks? It is a war to the death against biblical Christianity and the grace of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. When you finally get that through your heads, folks, you can understand why the agenda is what it is and why these societies, these secret societies, whether it's a Skull and Bones, whether it's Scientology, whether it's Mormonism, whether it's Jehovah's Witnesses, whatever, it's a satanic agenda against biblical Christianity. Exclamation point, exclamation point. Now, coming up this March, coinciding with the high satanic Black Sabbath of the spring solstice, folks, which is the 21st of March. This year, this numerological year of the Satanists, the 13th. This United Nations, this Edomite-controlled New World Order group, they will be finalizing the treaty, so-called banning all small arms. This is again during the Ides of March, coinciding with the Purim celebration, the bloodlust celebration. Why do you think they've targeted this week, this Satanic Ides of March, this Black Sabbath holiday. Why do you think they focus on? Because it's by Satan's own design. At this time, you see this Jewish/communist, what I call the Frankfurt School Superman, because that's in the satanic lingo. He is their Superman. He's been depicted as wearing the big S on his chest. This Superman, Barack Hussein Obama, will sign the gun-banning UN treaty under his proclaimed authority under Article 6, Section 2 of the United States Constitution. The Sandy Hook, December 14th, PSYOPs, false flag, folks, was to reinforce this agenda to put pressure on United States senators not to fight this treaty. You see, there's 51 senators this last July 2012 that signed a letter to Obama saying, don't sign this small arms treaty. December, right before Christmas, you have this tragedy. This tragedy that everywhere you look now, the Illuminati controllers, these Jewish controllers of the National Football League and basketball. I mean, Super Bowl yesterday, Sunday. Oh, these Sandy Hook choirs singing "America the Beautiful." How touching that is. Gotta ban these guys. You have Sylvester Stallone, the Rambo, coming out. You can't have these guns. Gabriel Giffords testifying to the Senate. They're not going to have enough to take down Obama's signature on this treaty, folks. They're going to have more than enough to ratify it. And I'm going to say, all heck will break loose in America when this becomes the law of the land, the supreme law of the land, in the end of March. See, it's all in place, folks. Everything's in place to enforce this and shove it down your throat. I'm going to talk about this in the final segment in depth. I'm going to read to you the exact words of the Second Amendment. And then I'm going to read to you the exact words of Article 6, Section 2. There's no doubt in my mind that there will be open rebellion over this. There will be, especially in the western states, bloodshed. The kid gloves will be taken off. Already you see this being debated in the Jewish-controlled rag we call newspapers, depicting sheriffs of counties of different states being wild-eyed revolutionaries that are synonymous with the Southern rebels of South Carolina firing on Fort Sumter. The rhetoric is amazingly similar. You are advocating open rebellion against the federal government. It didn't work in the 1860s. It won't happen in 2013. You see, this is a bigger issue than the issues that led to the Confederate states seceding. It really, truly is a bigger issue. We're talking about states' rights, and freedom. You see, Article 6, Section 2 was reaffirmed by the Supreme Court of America in the 1860s to grant President Lincoln war powers to fight against the southern states. That's how they justified warfare and 750 million American Christians slaughtered. And the bottom line is the people instigating it behind the scenes are the same godless Fabians and Frankfurt School Satanists today. Folks, you got to get a handle on it. That's why I'm screaming this. You've got to understand who the enemy is, and don't go down that trap. Otherwise, civil war is going to happen. And it's not going to be 750,000 Americans slaughtered. Oh no. Be millions. Millions slaughtered. I was a guest on Dr. Bill Deagle's show on Genesis Radio, and before we went on the air, I tell you, Bill Deagle said, "Well, that he didn't argue with my scenario. He didn't argue with the Chinese 2 million strong putting on the blue turbans, the blue helmets, and being the enforcement arm for the United Nations, the peacekeeping forces, right?" But he said, no, American hunters, American people armed with 30-06 rifles and 270s and assault weapons will chop these UN troops to pieces. I just simply beg to differ, sir. It might go well for a little while, but then you talk about the technology. You talk about the drones, the aircraft armed with these are remote-controlled drones, and they have them by the thousands. How long do you think you'll last in some cave up in the Teton Mountains of Wyoming? How long do you think that you'll be Afghan rebels all over again, folks? And yeah, it's going to be a tough battle. Will it come to that? I submit it will. Absolutely. It's what's heading unless we stop it now. Don't go away. We'll come back after these messages. This is the story behind the story.
If you're considering a water filter, have you heard about Aquapail? Aquapail from FreezeDryGuy.com has huge advantages over many other water filters. American-made Aquapail units are designed and engineered to not just filter contaminated water, but capture or kill all bacteria and viruses to non-detectable levels. Aquapail has the fastest flow rate of any other water filter on the market, filtering a gallon of contaminated water in about 5 minutes. That's water when you need it, now. Get the world's fastest, safest, and most reliable gravity-fed portable water treatment system for surface, well, and wastewater sources. Aquapail. Available in 4 sizes starting at only $100. And all orders to the lower 48 ship free. Call 866-404-3663 or go to FreezeDryGuy.com. That's 866-404-3663 or FreezeDryGuy.com. 100% veteran-owned. The Freeze Dry Guy.
Now you can feel that squeaky clean sensation like none other with Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash. Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash is a unique natural formula not found in any other oral care products. With a gentle combination of zinc, folic acid, myrrh, and clove oil, Vitamer effectively whitens teeth, removes plaque, and freshens breath, and it does it naturally without any harmful chemicals. Visit us online at Vitamer.com. That's VITAMYR.com. Or call us today to place your order at 1-888-558-8482. That's 1-888-558-8482. Keep your teeth and gums healthy with Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash. Vitamer, nature's answer to healthy teeth and gums. And remember, it's all completely natural. Available at participating health food stores nationwide.
Hello, I have something I'd like to share with you. LisaKCandles.com is an all-natural soybean candle alternative. Before I found Lisa K Candles, I had lingering soot and allergens in my home. Not today. My Lisa K Candles are clearly a difference to see and breathe. And you know, that's a good peace of mind. LisaKCandles.com is an all-natural soybean candle, handmade from their popular line of fragrances. And guys, these candles make a perfect gift. Order an all-natural soy candle from LisaKCandles.com. I'm glad I did, and I know you will be too. Visit LisaKCandles.com. That's Lisa, the letter K, Candles.com. Or call 731-441-3293. That's 731-441-3293.
The thing the men behind the curtain want is a conscious, informed public capable of critical thinking, which is why a continually fraudulent zeitgeist is output via religion, the mass media, and the educational system. They seek to keep you in a distracted, naive bubble, and they are doing a damn good job of it.
President Bush signed a formal agreement that will end the United States as we know it. And he took the step without approval from either the U.S. Congress or the people of the United States.
The Micro Effect is the purest form of alternative news and information on the airwaves today. Be part of the effort to inform your fellow Americans about the things they need to know. Help us reach those that are looking for answers and truth about the world today. For a limited time, we are offering a dozen business card-sized magnets for every $25 contribution. Take a minute and go to our website and take a look at how neatly designed these magnets are. Pass them out or give them to your friends and neighbors. Let others know that we are speaking out and that they too have a voice of freedom. Once again, that's a dozen Micro Effect magnets that are business card size for your $25 contribution. For those who are able to contribute more than $25, we have other offers, such as 30 magnets for a $50 contribution, or how about 75 business card-sized Micro Effect magnets for $100. Help this network reach America 24 hours a day with your contributions. This is how we fight back with your freedom of speech. If you can't hear us, you're not listening.
Serving the planet, the Micro Effect.
www.themicroeffect.com.
Oh, yes, we're back, folks. Welcome back to the story behind the story. The next hour, I want to talk about the Frankfurt School. I want to just absolutely give you a basic primer course in their agenda. I'm going to go a lot deeper down the rabbit hole with you than agenda the grinding down of America will ever dare to. Why are we so afraid of the Jews? It's a centuries-old problem. Fear of the Jews. Fear, what a four-letter word. An acronym, false expectations appearing real. Fear. F-E-A-R. False expectations appearing real. We see in John, the Gospel of John, men of good heart and valor going out and becoming silent for fear of the Jews, John records. The psalmist said, well, if I have my God, who else do I fear? Who else shall I fear? Did David, the little shepherd boy, fear Goliath? No. Because he was secure in his faith of God. Goliath didn't know what hit him. And that's what we have to do. And we have to be very, very much awake and alert. The battle is on. The agenda is being set. Satan's generals, folks, have announced the battle plan. It's an agenda, and this is understanding this Frankfurt School. What about it? Here's a quote from a man named Ralph D. Toledano. Passed away in the year 2007, born in 1916, 91 years old. Ralph D. Toledano said, quote, and by the way, he was a conservative author and co-founder of the National Review. What a great defender of truth that has always been. Here's what he said, quote, it was, meaning this Frankfurt School, it was a meeting more harmful to Western civilization than the Bolshevik Revolution itself. Wow, what a wake-up call that is. I want to talk about one of the founders of and movers and shakers of the so-called Frankfurt Group. A quote by Willy Munzenberg. Yeah, completely Jewish, absolutely Khazarian conspirator, folks. Willy Munzenberg, quote, we must organize the intellectuals and use them to make Western civilization stink, exclamation point. Only then, after they have corrupted all its values and made life impossible, can we impose the dictatorship of the proletariat. The dictatorship of the proletariat, ladies and gentlemen, is a buzzword by Karl Marx, meaning the complete collectivist state. Do you understand? Please understand. Please say you understand the gravity of this subject matter, the import of it. The paper I want to share with you is simply entitled Satan's Secret Agents, the Frankfurt School, so-called, and their evil agenda. Now, this was written originally by a guy named Timothy Matthews. I have added my commentary, and as well as this woman named Lasha Darkmoon, LD. First of all, there on my blog, if you follow along, there is the logo, the Frankfurt School. They have their own flag and logos. They have what appears to be the Maltese cross of Germany, again, the Bavarian House of Hesse, the Maltese cross. Above that are the words, in Satan we trust. Below that, do what has to be done. And the center is none other than the griffin, the dragon, folks, the symbol of Satan, universal. Begins by this quote by Friedrich Nietzsche. in his book, Thus Spake Zarathustra. The quote is simply, God is dead. Behold, I give you instead the Superman. The Superman, folks, is this person who's going to do more than anything else to bring about the globalist, collectivist state, the New World Order, the Superman of the Illuminist. I've been saying this for 5 years. I'll say it again. Barack Hussein Obama is their self-prescribed, self-ordained Superman. Do you think it's just a coincidence that he's positioning for legality for a third and maybe fourth or maybe fifth term? For a position in office, he is ineligible by the law of the land, the U.S. Constitution, to hold itself. He's not a natural-born citizen. I don't think he's natural-born anything. I, again, agree with Don Nikoloff's assertions in his research that this could be very well a clone baby in a test tube. Who knows? But the bottom line is he's not natural-born on the shores of Hawaii, the soil of America's state, Hawaii. Not true. It's a hoax. So here we go. Let's begin by considering the corrosive work of the Frankfurt School, so-called. What is the Frankfurt School, folks? It's a group of German/American scholars. The original author said mostly Jewish, and doing my research, folks, they're actually all were Jewish by bloodline. Call them Edomites, call them whatever you want. The few who were not completely of the synagogues were simply crypto-Jew Jesuits. And the Jesuits claim to be Christian, but they're not. They're satanic Jews masquerading as Christians. So they're all the basic bloodline, folks. The Russell bloodlines and others, absolutely. It all goes back to a deeply satanic royal bloodline. These scholars developed highly provocative and original perspectives on contemporary society and culture, drawing on, of course, the works of Hegel, as in Hegelian dialectics, Karl Marx, Nietzsche, Freud, Sigmund Freud, the psychiatrist, right, and Weber. When we talk about Sigmund Freud and psychiatry, you also have to go into the Hegelian dialectics. You control both sides of the coin, both the psychiatric profession as well as the opposition to the psychiatry, as in the CCHR, Citizens Committee on Human Rights, and Rima Leibau. Jewess, Witch of the West, Satanist, absolutely. Absolutely, without a doubt, folks, head of the Hegelian dialectic opposition to Sigmund Freud. For heaven's sake, she's a psychiatrist herself. You think with all this opposition she would renounce her credentials, but she doesn't. And her witchcraft, her National Coalition of Organized Witches, NCOW, very much support her. Now, going back, and I quote, their idea of a, quote, cultural revolution was not particularly new. Joseph Comte de Maistre, from 1753 to 1821, who for 15 years had been a high-level Freemason, had this to say, quote, until now, nations were killed by conquest, that is, by invasion. But here an important question arises. Can a nation not die on its own soil without resettlement or invasion? By allowing the flies of decomposition, to rot and stink, you see. The flies of decomposition, rotting flesh, to corrupt to the very core those original and constituent principles which make it what it is. Huh. See, Khrushchev said it best. We won't have to invade and nuke America. It'll be destroyed from within by our agents, by the Bolshevik agents of communism that are. He's talking about the Frankfurt School, folks. He knew. So what was and what is the Frankfurt School? Well, in those days following the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, it was widely believed that a workers' communist revolution would sweep into Europe and eventually into the United States itself. But it failed to do so. There was no invasion of the communist Red Horde, folks. Towards the end of the year 1922, the Communist International, was called Comintern, began to consider the reasons for this failure. On Vladimir Lenin's initiative, a meeting was organized at the Marx/Engels Institute in Moscow. The aim of this meeting was to throw light on the definition of Marx's cultural revolution. What did the term cultural revolution entail? What was it all about? First among those present was George Lukács. Isn't that amazingly like George Lucas, the Edomite movie maker of Hollywood? George Lukács, a Jewish-Hungarian aristocrat and son of a wealthy banker. He had become a communist during World War I. A good Marxist theoretician, he had developed the idea of, quote, revolution and eros. Yes, that's right, eros, which simply means sexual instinct used as an instrument of destruction. Then there was Willy Munzenberg, another revolutionary Jew whose proposed solution to the problem besetting a society was simply, quote, to organize the intellectuals and use them to make Western civilization stink. Only then, after they have corrupted all of its values and made life impossible, can we impose the dictatorship of the proletariat, end quote. Quoted was, said Ralph D. Toledano, the conservative author and co-founder of the National Review, a meeting more harmful to Western civilization than the Bolshevik Revolution itself, end quote. Lenin died in 1924, but by that time Stalin had risen to power and was beginning to look on Willy Munzenberg, George Lukács, and other Jewish revolutionaries like Trotsky as dangerous Marxist, quote, revisionists, introducing concepts to Marxism that were alien to Marxism and which served only a Jewish agenda. I gotta just take a little bit of exception to this, and I write, quote, actually, since Karl Marx and collectivism itself is a 100% Jewish agenda, Joseph Stalin's purge was more about a personal vendetta and internal leadership power struggle than about protecting the party. Folks, it amounts to the Jewish American mob boss mowing down any potential Jewish mob boss competition to his power base. You see, it's the sharks battling over the shark tank, basically. In June 1940, on Stalin's orders, Münzenberg was hunted down in the south of France by an NKVD, that's the Cheka, the secret police of Russia, Soviet Union, by an NKVD assassination squad and hanged from a tree. In the summer of 1924, after being attacked for his writings by the 5th Comintern, Communist International Congress, Lukács moved into Germany. Here he chaired the first meeting of a group of communist-oriented sociologists. This gathering, this intellectual gathering in Frankfurt, Germany, was to lead to the official foundation of the Frankfurt School. This quote, school designed to put flesh on the revolutionary program was started at the University of Frankfurt in the Institute for Social Forschung. To begin with, school and institute were indistinguishable. In 1923, the institute had been officially established and funded by Felix Weil, who died in 1975. Weil, born in Argentina into a wealthy Jewish family, was sent to attend school in Germany at the age of 9. He attended the universities in Tübingen and Frankfurt, where he graduated with a doctoral degree in political science. While at these universities, he became increasingly interested in collectivism and Marxism. Karl Grunberg, the Frankfurt School's Jewish director from 1923 to 1929, was, of course, also an avowed Marxist, although the institute itself did not have any official party affiliations. But in 1930, Max Horkheimer, also Jewish, once again, assumed control. He believed openly that Marxist theory should be the basis of all the Institute's research. Now, here's the key. When Hitler came to power in the mid-30s, the Institute was closed, and its members, by various routes, fled to the United States and ended up as academics at major U.S. universities: Columbia, Princeton, Brandeis, and California at Berkeley. Where did Barack Hussein Obama go to school, and who was he mentored by? Yes, folks, Columbia. And who was he mentored by in his communist agenda, folks? Yes, these godless, atheistic, anti-Christian Jews. The fact that these Jews spoke very poor English was no disqualification to get very high posts at Columbia, Princeton, Yale, Brandeis, and University of California, Berkeley. No. They were simply Jewish. And because of their communist Marxist agenda with Wall Street, you see, they managed to obtain very prestigious, very high-level academic appointments through their Jewish influence, through what's called networking. And that's the system that's still in place today. And you wonder why there's such a huge and unfair preponderance of high-level Jews in academia today. Think tanks, ladies and gentlemen, think tanks such as, yes, our wonderful agenda for American hegemony, Jewish Israeli hegemony in the Middle East. Project for a new America century. Look at the people involved in that think tank under George W. Bush's direction. These Zionists, folks, don't underestimate them, their power in manipulating events and planning events such as September 11th, the new Pearl Harbor event. It's not a conspiracy, folks. It's an agenda. Step by step by step by step, they have made America stink. The Frankfurt School included among its members the 1960s guru of the New Left, so-called Herbert Marcuse. This man was denounced by Pope Paul VI for his theory of liberation, which, quote, opens the way for sexual license cloaked as liberty. On and it goes. All in the
If you're considering a water filter, have you heard about Aquapail? Aquapail from FreezeDryGuy.com has huge advantages over many other water filters. American-made Aquapail units are designed and engineered to not just filter contaminated water, but capture or kill all bacteria and viruses to non-detectable levels. Aquapail has the fastest flow rate of any other water filter on the market, filtering a gallon of contaminated water in about 5 minutes. That's water when you need it, now. Get the world's fastest, safest, and most reliable gravity-fed portable water treatment system for surface, well, and wastewater sources. Aquapail. Available in 4 sizes starting at only $100. And all orders to the lower 48 ship free. Call 866-404-3663 or go to FreezeDryGuy.com. That's 866-404-3663 or FreezeDryGuy.com. 100% veteran-owned. The Freeze Dry Guy.
Now you can feel that squeaky clean sensation like none other with Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash. Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash is a unique natural formula not found in any other oral care products. With a gentle combination of zinc, folic acid, myrrh, and clove oil, Vitamer effectively whitens teeth, removes plaque, and freshens breath, and it does it naturally without any harmful chemicals. Visit us online at Vitamer.com. That's VITAMYR.com. Or call us today to place your order at 1-888-558-8482. That's 1-888-558-8482. Keep your teeth and gums healthy with Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash. Vitamer. Nature's answer to healthy teeth and gums. And remember, it's all completely natural. Available at participating health food stores nationwide.
I have something I'd like to share with you. LisaKCandles.com is an all-natural soybean candle alternative. Before I found Lisa K Candles, I had lingering soot and allergens in my home. Not today. My Lisa K Candles are clearly a difference to see and breathe. And you know, that's a good peace of mind. LisaKCandles.com is an all-natural soybean candle, handmade from their popular line of fragrances. And guys, these candles make a perfect gift. Order an all-natural soy candle from LisaKCandles.com. I'm glad I did, and I know you will be too. Visit LisaKCandles.com. That's Lisa, the letter K, Candles.com. Or call 731-441-3293. That's 731-441-3293.
Serving the planet, the micro effect.
www.themicroeffect.com.
second hour from the story behind the story, folks. Thanks for listening. Hope you've enjoyed the first hour. I tell you, this truly is, at least to me personally, in my 25 plus years of study of the subject, this really is the most important topic. It's really critical mass, understanding who the enemy is, who they are, who's behind the Federal Reserve banking scandal, who's really creating toxic environment in stocks and bonds in America, who's really behind the agenda. So top of the hour, time to do America in Jeopardy, indeed. Here is the America in Jeopardy answer. It won the 2002 Best Film category in the San Antonio Christian Film Festival in the year 2010. Okay, got your caps on and hopefully your pins. What is that's the answer to the question. What is the movie Agenda? The Grinding Down of America. Folks, if you have not yet seen this video, I strongly advise you to take an hour and a half. Just take some time and watch this movie. Take a minute, take a break for just a minute. Okay, we're back. I don't know if I got the wrong message or what. We had a little technical glitch, I guess. Anyway, we're back, folks. Oh, here we go. Watch that. You got to watch the video. It's free on Vimeo. But, folks, I suggest, why not spend a little money and get a copy of the video if you watch it. Get a hard copy of it and support this family. It really is a Christian family that made it. And yes, I don't want to be overly critical of it. I think he's done a good job of basically laying out the problem and not offending people who are brainwashed, you see. But I think it's up to me and others who know the score, who know who they are, know who the Frankfurt School and the Fabians really are, fill in the gaps. Because, you see, I'm not afraid of this synagogue of Satan. I really don't care. Because, you see, I know their agenda is to destroy this country. You want to talk about the definition of courage? I don't consider myself to be courageous at all. I just consider myself to be one ticked-off white male who's been lied to for most of my adult life, who've uncovered a hoax of hoaxes, whether it's the hoax of Mormonism and Joe Smith, which I gave a good portion of my life to. But the big hoax, folks, is honestly this masquerade, these godless descendants of Genghis Khan. That is just a huge con. It's the hoax. I have no other way to tell you, but flat out, straight up. I'll take the death threats, because I have had some last week, believe me. I'll take threats of lawsuits by the Anti-Defamation League and the Southern Poverty Law Center and those idiots. Talk about useful idiots, hypocrites, Horowitz and Kane. I'm going to just tell you what it is. The people that buy off to their diatribes and attack emails, attack websites, truewhat.com. If you really believe that stuff, you can't see who they are, and this country is in trouble. In a huge way. See, so we're talking now about the Frankfurt School. Our website posed, quote, to undermine Western civilization, the Frankfurt School of Jews called for the most negative and destructive criticism possible of every sphere of life. And again, this is following the conclusion of World War II now. That's exactly when it all began, folks. The early 1950s, the so-called baby boom generation of America. Quote, to destabilize society, to bring it to its knees, to engineer collapse, to produce crises and catastrophe. This became the aim of these maladjusted and mentally sick Jewish revolutionaries, masquerading as high-powered intellectuals. Their policies, they hoped, would spread like a virus, continuing to work the Western Marxists by other means, as one of their members noted. Again, Khrushchev said it best, we won't have to fire a single shot. They'll collapse themselves from the inside. They'll collapse it again to the loss of moral guidance. And that's exactly what's happening. Satan knows how to destroy it. I mean, I posted this incredible Paul Harvey segment, simply entitled "If I Were the Devil." Everything that the devil, according to Paul Harvey, would do is the epitome of this Frankfurt School intellectuals. To further the advance of their, what they call quiet cultural revolution, the Frankfurt School internalized and wrote down, made the following 12 recommendations, all of them specifically calculated to undermine the foundations of society and create the dystopia we now see all around us. Goal number 1. The creation of racism offenses and hate speech laws. Number 2, the continual change to create confusion in school curricula. Well, I'm talking about grade school, about posters of things as My Two Mommies. You see, the book, My Two Mothers and My Two Daddies, to create confusion, indeed, school curricula. Goal number 3, masturbation propaganda in schools, combined with the homosexualization of children and their corruption by exposing them to child porn in the classroom. Is this happening, folks? You believe it is. I asked this question many times on this show when I talk about the homosexual agenda. How in the world does a young man or a young woman at 12 or 13 years old even know to question their sexuality? To even know enough to be experimenting with it, you see? Because in a classroom, they're told it's okay to find out who you are. Point 4, the systematic undermining of parental and teachers' authority. How is that done, folks? Oh, you can't spank a child. You can't touch a child. You can't discipline a child, either in the classroom as parents. If you do, if you spank your child, you can go to prison. We can have the children taken out of your home. You see. How about this one, number 5? Huge immigration, illegal immigration, to destroy national identity and to foment future race wars. Agenda item number 6. The systematic promotion of excessive drinking and recreational drugs. Boy, that's right there at Cal Berkeley, isn't it? During the 60s. Goal number 7, systematic promotion of sexual deviance in society. Oh, it's okay if you're lesbian, gay, transgender, bisexual, totally fine. You have no problem. You just need acceptance, see. Well, that's the rallying cry of Barack Hussein Obama. And now, of all things, the Boy Scouts of America have the debate in front of them right now. Do we allow openly sexual Boy Scouts, openly bisexual, and homosexual scouts and leaders to join in with us? Of course, Barack Obama said, of course you should. You shouldn't limit them. It's hate speech to do so. Yeah. Goal number 8, an unreliable legal system with bias against the victims of crime. Boy. Yeah, that's happening big time. And number 9, how about this one? Dependency on state benefits. Oh, this is right up your alley. You're Mr. Superman, Marxist Superman Obama. Make everybody, oh, where is my handout? You see. Number 10, the control and the dumbing down of the media. Folks, it's a fact. There are 6 Jewish companies. 6 Jewish companies now control, get this, 96% of the world's media. The world's media, not just America media. And then, of course, point 11, encouraging the breakdown of the family, of course. And Ken, we're talking about this Christian video event, the Stepping Up, a Call to Courageous Manhood. Family Life Publishing out of Little Rock, Arkansas. Is it Christian? Of course it is. Does it build family up? Is this what Pastor Rainey and others are about, is protecting the family? Of course it is. But see, Dennis Rainey and others, unless you really understand and expose the agenda, you're doing a disservice, frankly. And I got to just say that. It's literally like taking one step forward while spending 3 steps sliding backwards. You're on a slippery slope. Unless you get the right traction in your boot in the mud, which is what you're showing here, the tracking of boots in the mud. Unless you get that traction and tell the truth, I mean the entire truth of the problem, you're sliding down the slope backwards. And the last agenda, number 12, an all-out attack on Christianity and the emptying of churches. And see, Dennis Rainey and other pastors, if you can't see this, you are myopic in the extreme, and you're part of the problem, not part of the solution, my good friends. In the Soviet Union, just look at the model there, folks. These Christian pastors, if you don't see this, you're part of the problem. You really are. In the Soviet Union under Stalin and his communist Jews, the KGB, Cheka, how was it done? The emptying of churches was accomplished to simply burn them down and arrested. The word is arrest. Arrested the leaders of the churches, and they never got out of the Gulag system, the Gulag archipelago. Thousands of them, ladies and gentlemen. Mother Russia was an Orthodox Christian society until the Bolshevik destruction. Russian Orthodox Christianity saved by grace, theosis, the way, the path to become one with Christ. This is exactly what the war is against. Thousands of churches were destroyed, and where the Christian churches stood, they were synagogues and atheistic colleges put into place. Now, this is, again, these exact same 12 aims and objectives were also set out prominently in the pages of the protocols of the elders of Zion, folks, that the Jewish-controlled media would have you brainwashed into believing is nothing but a forgery. Oh, really? Is the school, the Frankfurt School, just a bunch of bogus conspiracy tripe too? Of course, but in the controlled media, it is. That's why you're not going to ever hear it there. It's exactly why you have to listen to the Micro Effect, and specifically this show, to hear the truth. Folks, one of the main ideas of the Frankfurt School, so-called, was to exploit Sigmund Freud's idea of what he called pansexualism. Pansexualism is just simply the search for indiscriminate sexual pleasure, the promotion of what's called unisex, the blurring of distinctions between the sexes themselves, the overthrowing of traditional relationships between men and women, and finally the undermining heterosexuality at the expense and replacement of homosexuality. The Frankfurt School is all about promoting same-sex marriage and the unlimited adoption and exposure of children by homosexual couples. Again, let me remind you, Willie Munzenberg summed up the Frankfurt School's long-term operation with this quote: "We will make the West so corrupt that it stinks." According to Sean McMeekin's book, The Red Millionaire, a political biography of Willie Munzenberg, Munzenberg was, quote, "the perpetrator of some of the most colossal lies of the modern age. He helped unleash a plague of moral blindness upon the world from which we have still not recovered." How can we recover, you see, if it's not even exposed? You got Christian churches led by this Campus Crusade for Christ, Campus Crusade, to the very campus of universities that are dominated by this insanity. You're not exposing it. Dennis Rainey and friends, you're not. Shame on you for not. We'll never recover until it is exposed. The Frankfurt School believed there were two types of revolution. Type A, political revolution, and Type B, cultural revolution. The Frankfurt School leaders were concerned more with cultural revolution, the demolition of the established order from within. Quote, modern forms of subjection are marked by mildness, they taught. So-called reforms were to be made so slowly and subtly that these changes for the worse were barely perceptible. And the school saw the undermining of the social order as thus a long-term project. Folks, the definition of cultural Marxism is simply the systematic erosion of Christian moral values. The Sodom and Gomorrah problem is, again, part of their top agenda. It's always been that way since the days of Sodom and Gomorrah. These are the Satanists, this is why God destroyed this community of Sodom and Gomorrah, folks. Organized Jewry today controls 96% of the world's media organs. I got to tell you like it is, cultural Marxism has won. Won the day. They've largely triumphed. And Christianity and the morals of Christianity, they really do lie in ruins. If Willie Munzenberg was still alive today, I have no doubt he would be cracking a cork, popping a cork and drinking a toast to success. These Marxist reformers, this agenda, folks, kept their sights firmly fixed, first of all, on the American family, education, media, sex and pop culture, including musicians, band members, etc. Each of these would be their specific target. The things did not go from bad to worse. Year after year after year, they were not succeeding. To these revolutionary Jewish thinkers, bad was good, and worse was even better than good. The schools, this is in the Frankfurt School, folks, their critical theory preached that the authoritarian personality was a product solely of the patriarchal family, a strong man, father figure. And this is directly related to Engels, Engels' Origins of the Family, Private Property in the State book, which promoted, instead of patriarchy, matriarchy. Karl Marx had already written in 1848 the Communist Manifesto. There he brought forth the radical notion of a community of women. He wrote in 1845, Karl Mordecai Marx, the absolute Satanist, wrote the German Ideology in 1845. He had written in most disparaging terms the idea of the family as a basic unit of society. This was the basic tenet of what they call the critical theory, the need to break down the family unit. See, all families are essentially evil to these Jewish pawn scum, even happy families, so they simply had to be destroyed. To them it was much better if children had no parents, or better yet, did not even know who their parents were. Orphans of the state is their best. That's who they can manipulate and abuse the most, orphans of the state. It was even much better than good, them, if romantic love blossomed. Stable long-term marriages. Oh my goodness. The whole point of their culture revolution was simply, quote, under the writings of Lukács, to create a culture of pessimism. And under Munzenberg, to make life impossible for everyone. These people, these are demons. Absolute demons, ladies and gentlemen. They don't want you to be happy. George Lukács wrote, quote, I want a culture of pessimism. A world abandoned by God. The scholars therefore preach that, quote, even a partial breakdown of parental authority in the family unit would tend to increase the readiness of a coming generation to accept sweeping social change. And this again is Sigmund Freud, Freudian Marxist philosophers of the Frankfurt School. They were just clearly out to create divisive troubles, to drive a wedge between parent and child and sow divisions in the family. Again, and they're doing the same thing now with this upcoming agenda on guns, ammunition, and the banning of them, folks. Make no mistake, this is a flashpoint, firepoint that will absolutely lead to revolution, in my opinion. And it's, again, the same individuals fomenting it the same way. I'm going to speak on this in the last section, folks, go into depth about it. I'm going to quote to you a little bit from Alexander Solzhenitsyn's book, The Gulag Archipelago. And, folks, you've got to realize what it means to be arrested. Make no mistake, the agenda is such. And it's in place. The players, the acts of the players have been identified. The agenda is what it is. It's in your face. It's real. How many millions, 100 million or more will be arrested, sent to concentration camps? Folks, that's the question. Make no mistake, it's real. The agenda is set. Please, give it some deep, deep thought and pray about it. I'll be back soon. Thanks for listening.
What's better than Mountain House freeze-dried food? Buckets of Mountain House freeze-dried food. Now the freeze-dried guy introduces convenient, easy-to-store Mountain House survival buckets filled with our top-selling items. Each item is sealed in a Mylar-type pouch, and each pouch is neatly packed in clear buckets so you can easily see the contents inside. These Mountain House survival buckets come with well over a 25-year shelf life and are perfect for emergency preparedness, camping, backpacking, or at-home use. Go to freezedryguy.com, click on freeze-dried foods, and choose our 12-month 3-month, 6-month, 3-month, 1-month, or 7-day Mountain House Survival Bucket with 32 generous servings starting at just $69.95. And all orders to the lower 48 ship free. Call 866-404-3663 or go to freezedryguy.com. That's 866-404-3663 or go to freezedryguy.com. 100% veteran owned. The Freeze Dry Guy.
Bought a few bottles of Heart and Body Extract and have to say that it certainly does work.
That's what Jack from Michigan had to say after his experience with heart pain and what he did to treat it with Heart and Body Extract.
I actually had a huge heart flutter. I was also having some edema around my ankles and very worrisome clot in my right leg that would happen from time to time while I was trying to sleep.
Heart and Body Extract is all natural with no negative side effects. It will help repair or correct past problems associated with the heart and body circulation.
After my second bottle of Heart and Body Extract, all problems are now gone.
Order at hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305.
I ordered a third bottle of Heart and Body Extract for maintenance as I want to keep everything working.
Order Heart and Body Extract at 866-295-5305 or hbextract.com. Heart and Body Extract for a long and healthy life.
Now you can feel that squeaky clean sensation like none other with Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash. Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash is a unique natural formula not found in any other oral care products. With a gentle combination of zinc, folic acid, myrrh, and clove oil, Vitamer effectively whitens teeth, removes plaque, and freshens breath, and it does it naturally without any harmful chemicals. Visit us online at Vitamer.com. That's VITAMYR.com. Or call us today to place your order at 1-888-558-8482. That's 1-888-558-8482. Keep your teeth and gums healthy with Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash. Vitamer, nature's answer to healthy teeth and gums. And remember, it's all completely natural. Available at participating health food stores nationwide.
Regardless of the dollar price involved, 1 ounce of gold would purchase a good quality man's suit at the conclusion of the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, the presidency of Franklin Roosevelt, and today. You may not be in the market for a new suit, but you don't know what the future may bring. And gold is the one financial constant the world has ever known. It can always provide you with your basic needs. Whether you're looking for junk silver, old silver dollar rolls, gold bullion, or fractional tradable gold pieces, Kettle Moraine is your full-service representative with over 50 years of knowledge and personal experience. Visit FlyingEagleGold.com or call us at 623-327-1778 today for competitive prices on all your gold or silver needs. If you're looking for real financial insurance, call Kettle Moraine today at 623-327-1778. That's Kettle Moraine, 623-327-1778.
America, politicians are about to vote on the creation of a police state and a permanent state of war everywhere on earth, including the homeland, mein Führer. The U.S. Senate will be voting on a bill that will give this president and every future president the power to order the military to pick up and imprison, without charge or trial, civilians anywhere in the world, including America. Illuminati, you'll never take control. Your new world order will lead to none at all. Let's just go over that again because it may seem insane or unhinged at first. The American president wants the power to arrest and detain anyone, anywhere, indefinitely, without charge or trial, forever. Yes, it still sounds insane.
www.themicroeffect.com.
And we're back, folks. Welcome back to the final segment of today's Story Behind a Story. Once again, it is the 4th day of February 2013. As I talked about earlier in the broadcast today, And I think it's really important to get a firm legal handle on what the U.S. Constitution says and legally, okay, what it does not say. The Second Amendment to the Constitution says that, again, it's the right of people to gather in a militia. That's the right. And in order to thus be effective as a militia, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, that's clear, but the central subject matter is the right to form a militia. The right to keep and bear arms. See, arms is not specifically defined. You think, well, it's our guns, it's our shooters, it's our automatic weaponry. Well, a case legal splitting of hairs can be made that they won't stop us from being armed. We can arm with pitchforks, we can arm with kitchen knives, we can arm with swords, primitive bows and arrows. Folks, you got to go back to the main body of the Constitution and the very definition of the word constitutor. Constitutor, folks, Constitution. We're talking about a constitutor. The legal Black's Law definition of a constitutor is someone that simply assumes the debts of another. In this case, the U.S. Constitution is the legal document that made the collective people of the United States of America liable for the debts of the colonies under the Articles of Confederation during the American Revolution. And folks, you got to get a handle on this. This is really, really important to understand. Who is this debt payable to? To King George? Wrong. Who? Folks, it was due and payable to the financiers of King George's court, the financiers of the French allies. Do you really think that it was George Washington and his ragtag Continental Army that bottled up Cornwallis at Yorktown? Do you think it was the great American Navy that blockaded the sea lanes into Yorktown? If you believe that, folks, you're just not thinking. It's the French. The French army. And who was the French dandy that brought all of this powerful financial military aid to the Continental Congress, the signers of the Declaration of Independence? The Marquis de Lafayette, a young, snot-nosed dandy, a royal blue blood, folks, of the House of Rothschild, French division. Yeah, the French division of the House of Rothschild. It's just another leg, another subdivision of the English House of Rothschild, operating out of the City of London Financial District. See, it really didn't matter what happened with Lord Cornwallis there at Yorktown. He would get his due back in England. It's just fine. But the most important thing is as Illuminati agent Benjamin Franklin so well understood in the Treaty of Versailles, the Treaty of Paris, France. France, folks, you had to make sure that the people, through their slave labor, their work, their enterprise, paid the war debt. The mercenary Hessian soldiers, for one, the cost of the gunpowder, you see, the shot, the shells, all of the expenditures put out, somebody has to pay for those. And the big question is how many millions it cost back then. I don't have those numbers. All I know is the Constitution calls for the payment of debts. And I tell you, folks, if you haven't heard this before, it's just your wake-up call. If you have, again, I'm preaching to the choir. And here is when we're talking about the United Nations Arms Control Treaty, the ATT, the Small Arms Treaty. Folks, you got to, if you read that, it's very clear. They're targeting America. Who else do you think has as much free arms than Americans? You think it's the Mexicans? You think it's the South American dictatorships? Folks, it's the American people this is targeting. And if you don't see that, you are completely duped and blind. This treaty is due to be executed and signed into law by Barack Hussein Obama this March, sometime between the March 18th and the 22nd. Probably, if I were to be a betting man, it would be right on the Black Sabbath winter solstice, spring solstice, March 21st. Very high Black Sabbath day for these Satanists. Now, what does this mean, folks? What is the importance of this? I've talked to patriots all across this country. I really have, and they say, well, they'll never allow the United Nations, meaning the states, the county sheriffs, the states like Montana, the states like Utah, the states like Wyoming, they'll never allow such a United Nations treaty to be enforced at the state level. Oh, really? Obviously, you don't understand the Constitution. Let me share with you the Constitution text. Let's read the text, specifically Article 6, aptly numbered 6, Satan's special number. Text, Article 6, all debts contracted and engagements entered into. This is the House of Rothschild, the French House of Rothschild. These are massive debt structures of the war of revolution, so-called. All debts contracted and engagements entered into before the adoption of this Constitution shall be as valid against the United States under this Constitution as under the Confederation, so-called Articles of Confederation. Now here's the key text. Quote, this Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States. Who is the central authority of the United States? It's the POTUS, folks. It's the President of the United States. His signature is valid. And that's the whole point. This guy is an invalid president. Since when does he have any care about rule of law? If he cared about the Constitution, if he cared about the amendments, and if the Democrat Party had vetted him, he would never, he's not a natural-born citizen. He has no authority to act as president. He has no authority, really, you see, to sign on a treaty and thus bind the United States, but he will anyway. I guarantee you he will. When he signs that small arms treaty, the trafficking arms traffic treaty, the ATT, he's making that the supreme law of the land under the Constitution, Article 6, Section 2. It says, quote, "And all treaties made, or which shall be made under the authority of the United States," quote, "shall be the supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby," quote, "anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding." This is what's called, folks, the Constitution Supremacy Clause, so-called. Supremacy Clause. And, you know, this has been challenged in the Supreme Court many times, if you understand the Supremacy Clause. All laws made by international treaty, you see, under this Supremacy Clause, provides that all jurisdictions, whether you're sheriffs, whether you're state legislature, it don't matter. They're bound by the supreme law and gives the federal government authority to enforce, which means simply if you don't buckle under, folks, you don't buckle under, you are a criminal. And the United Nations enforcement, the security arm, the Chinese military, folks, which have been trained for this for the last 5 years, they've been trained for arresting and taking away citizens of the United States. They've been trained to do this. They all not wear their red star little helmets. They wear the blue United Nations blue helmets. And if you resist, they have the legal authority to shoot you dead. You're under arrest. If you don't, you'll be charged for high treason and 20 to 30 years in prison, maybe even execution. So what do you have, folks? If you don't see this as a stage set for absolute martial law, civil war, whatever you want to call it. You see, this is, if you really study the history of this treaty, you see there were 51 senators. 51. That's, those of you that can't do your math, that's a slim majority of the senators. See, they wrote a letter in July 2012 as Obama was on the campaign trail. And they gave Obama notice that they would not vote to ratify such a treaty. See, that's the other thing that's a sticky wicket. The Senate has to ratify the signature of the president. But see, that was all before something called Sandy Hook, Connecticut. And that was before all the other shootings that have been happened by wing nut, lone nut, Manchurian candidate gunmen. That was before Representative Gabriel Giffords comes out and declares we need strong anti-gun measures. Folks, there are no 51 senators today opposing the ratification. No. There are a very strong majority that will sign off on that and do it quickly. And then what is going to happen is easy to see. It should be easy to see. Those who would stand up and make this all an issue, say, well, first of all, Obama had no authority to do this. They're already being painted as nutcases in the Jewish-controlled media, folks. These are the people that are psychotic. Oh, my heavens. There's just a news article today in the Salt Lake Tribune newspaper, this crazed nutty ex-military personnel who subscribes to blogs, heaven forbid, that are critical of government agencies, that is critical of the federal government. This guy goes onto a school bus and shoots a bus driver dead and takes a young lad hostage into an underground bunker, and it's still going today. Media is making a circus out of this. See what kind of people that are against the government? See these crazy people that say we must have guns, we have gun. This is how the media is brainwashing the people. It happened after the Oklahoma City bombing during Bill Clinton's satanic administration. It's happening even more so today. The demonization of people who want to be independent, that heavens forbid they equate militia membership with terrorist bombings of places like the federal building in Oklahoma City. That's by design, and they've done a damn good job about it. Folks, yeah, that is the agenda. That is the plan. The stage is set. This is like a Shakespeare play. It's a tragedy. Absolute tragedy. But the script has been written. The stage is set. The sets are in place. And the actors have been indeed identified. All people say, well, this is America. As long as we hold faith to our Christian faith, hold strong to our Christian faith, we won't have to worry. That's exactly what they want you to believe as well, folks. Friday we discussed the book, The Gulag Archipelago, written by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Chapter 1 of this amazing, riveting book is simply titled Arrest. Arrest. Think about that word. We're not talking about cardiac arrest, we're talking about incarceration, breaking the laws of the land. If you don't think for 1 minute, folks, that we have the equivalent of the KGB, the Cheka, the secret police that the Soviet Union had, ours is simply called DHS, Department of Homeland Security. And I have no doubt, folks, the litmus test of not only the DHS officials, as well as our National Guard troops and commanding officers. The litmus test as put out by Obama's Pentagon now is, will you fire on American citizens that are breaking the law? Will you have a problem? That's posse comitatus on steroids. Will you fire on American citizens? Yes or no? So arrest. This is an amazing chapter. Solzhenitsyn writes, quote, how do people get to this clandestine archipelago called the Gulag Archipelago? Hour by hour, planes fly there, ships steer their course there, and trains thunder off to it. And guess, folks, there's millions of people in this Gulag Archipelago, well, with a nary a mark on them to tell of their destination. And And the ticket windows or travel bureaus for Soviet or foreign tourists, employees would be astounded if you were to ask for a ticket to go there. They know nothing, and they've never heard of the archipelago as a whole or of any of its innumerable islands. Those who go to the archipelago to administer it get there via the training schools of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. Those who go there to be guards are conscripted via the military conscription centers. See, they're compartmentalized. All they know is that they're taking care of people that are disloyal, that are traitors. That's all they need to know. Quote, he writes, and those who, like you and me, dear reader, go there to die must get there solely and compulsorily via arrest. Arrest! Exclamation point. Need it be said that it is a breaking point in your life? A bolt of lightning which has scored a direct hit on you? That it is an unassimilable spiritual earthquake not every person can cope with, as a result of which people often slip into insanity, ? The universe has many different centers as there are living beings in it. Each one of us in our own mind is a center of the universe, and that universe is shattered when they hiss at you. You are under arrest. If you are arrested, can anything else remain unshattered by this cataclysm? But the darkened mind is incapable of embracing these displacements in our universe, and both the most sophisticated and the veriest simpleton among us, drawing on all life's experience, can gasp out only, me? Me? What for? And this is the question which, though repeated millions and millions of times before, has yet to receive an answer. Arrest, you see, is an instantaneous, shattering thrust, expulsion, somersault from one state into another. We have been happily born, or perhaps have unhappily dragged our weary way down the long and crooked streets of our lives, past all kinds of walls and fences made of rotting wood, rammed earth, brick, concrete, iron railings. We have never given a thought to what lies behind them. We have never tried to penetrate them with our vision or our understanding. But there is where the Gulag country begins, right next to us, 2 yards away from us. In addition, we have failed to notice an enormous number of closely fitted, well-disguised doors and gates in these fences. All those gates were prepared for us, every last one. And all of a sudden, the fateful gate swings quickly open, and 4 white male hands, unaccustomed to physical labor, but nonetheless strong and tenacious, grab us by the leg, the arm, the collar, the calf, the ear, and drag us in like a sack. And the gate behind us, the gate to our past life, is slammed shut once and for all. That's all there is to it. You are arrested. And you'll find nothing better to respond with than a lamb-like bleat. What for? Me. That's what arrest is. It's a blinding flash and a blow which shifts the present insanity into the past and the impossible into omnipotent actuality. That's all. And neither for the first hour nor for the first day will you be able to grasp anything else. Except that in your desperation, the fake circus moon will blink at you. It's a mistake. It's unfair. It's a mistake. It's a mistake. They'll set things right. Folks, that's a wrap. You think about that before we talk again. Arrest. They'll make criminals out of everybody that wants to hold a gun in this country. Make no mistake, that's the agenda. It's happening. Absolutely is happening with the false flag, Sandy Hook, line and sinker hoax. Folks, that's my message today. Thanks for listening. You have a great evening. Good night. God bless.
Situations could